She's a real woman with a real life. She's someone you can relate to. Dawn Newton.
Welcome to the Dawn Newton Podcast. I am your host, Dawn Newton. You know, I started this podcast about 15 years ago and also a talk show on our community station because I wanted to go deeper in conversation. I wanted more than headlines, more than sound bites, more than the surface level chatter that fills the airwaves. And back then, the world was nowhere near what we see and hear today. I had no idea we'd end up here with conversations breaking down, with outrage culture driving clicks and the violent rhetoric being cheered on instead of called out. That's why I still do this podcast and my radio show. I believe in real conversation with people from all walks of life on all kinds of topics. I do my research. I don't chase sound bites. I don't push a narrative. And I never edit to serve my own purpose, to make myself look smarter or my guest look smaller. What you hear on my podcast and my show is authentic. But then I look around the way that people are talking today and I have to stop. Are people just being vile to get likes? To go viral, to make the evening news? Maybe. But what's even more disturbing is the people who follow. It wasn't long ago folks were losing their minds over a jeans commercial, and now some of those same people were celebrating an assassination? That's not talking, that's not debate, that's dangerous. And maybe what we've lost most in all of this is curiosity. Curiosity about ourselves, why we do what we do. Why do we believe what we believe? Where do our opinions and beliefs really come from? Because if we can't be curious about that, if we can't stop and examine what drives us, then we'll just keep lashing out instead of actually talking. If we don't pause to ask those questions, then we're not engaging. We're just reacting. And reaction isn't dialogue. But here's the thing, though. I still believe that most of us have more in common than not. I know that sounds cliche, but from doing this podcast and my radio show and the hundreds of people I've talked to over the years, I know it's true, that most of us land somewhere in the middle, and that's okay. You don't want a choir that sings the same song you do. You want discourse, you want debate, you want to hear opposite opinions because that's how we grow, that's how we learn, through our own experiences and through the experiences of others. But I'm not naive. I know there are people who will never come to the table for honest, authentic debate or discussion. Some don't want unity. They want that divide. They want the hate. They want the violence because for them, it's lucrative. It's attention. And let's be honest, in today's world, good attention or bad attention, it's still attention. And that's why I keep coming back to conversation, to talking, to the act of the conversation itself. Because if we don't reclaim the way we talk to each other with curiosity, honesty, and respect, then we leave the field open to those who thrive on chaos, the loudest and most hateful voices. And I don't believe that's who most of us are. I believe most of us want something better. You know, there are times that I may want to pass on a topic, a guest or an author, because honestly, it doesn't interest me. But I have to stop myself because this show, this podcast, isn't about me. It's about whoever is sitting across from me, and it's about you. And I also pride myself on not assuming your political position is the same as mine. That would be extremely arrogant and ignorant on my part. I try to rise above all that because what matters is the conversation itself. Authentic, honest, curious, and free from agendas. That's what I want for you every time you tune in. Now, the station isn't political. Some of the DJs are, and they make it known where they stand. Maybe not outright, but you can tell by their tone, the topics they choose for their shows, the questions they ask. Even the station's daily news report can't hide it, and that's unfortunate. So as I wrap this up, here's what I hope you take away. Talking matters. Not just talking, but how we talk. With curiosity, with honesty, and with a willingness to listen. Ask yourself why you believe what you believe. What makes you so right and everyone else so wrong? Examine where your opinions come from. Seek out voices different from your own. Because as I said earlier, and have experienced firsthand from those sitting across from me, most of us actually have more in common than we think. And that middle ground, that's not compromise. It's a space where real learning, real growth, and real understanding happen. The world will always have people who live for division, profit from hate, and thrive on chaos. But that doesn't mean the rest of us have to play along. We can choose discourse over vitriol, curiosity over outrage, and conversation over conflict. And yes, we all have friends, coworkers, even family members who seem to be drawn to chaos, but we don't have to be pulled into their fire. So whether you're streaming this podcast or tuning in live to my radio show, I want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up for real conversation. Because talking matters, listening matters, curiosity matters. And every time we choose authenticity over noise, we move one step closer to the kind of understanding we in this world so desperately need. So until next time, keep talking, keep listening, and most importantly, stay curious. The Dawn Newton Podcast is written, produced, and hosted by Dawn Newton.